This is a homopolar motor I made in about 2 minutes. Let me show you how to make them and the science behind how they work. And what's gonna increase our interest in homopolar motors today? Thinking about my Tesla that I drove to work today. That's a lie. It's not my Tesla, it's my brother's. Someday, probably not. My kids need to be clothed and eat food. Teslas have electric motors, so I feel like I want to learn how it works a little bit better. What better way to learn about an electric motor than a really easy electric motor like a homopolar motor? And that is what we're going to learn how to make today and why it works. To make the homopolar motor, you only need 3 things. Magnets. You can order some neodymium magnets on Amazon. I'm using the 10x3s. We'll get about 3 of them. AA battery. I have a little more luck using the positive side going down to the magnets. Copper wire coil. Grab a handy test tube to make your coil. Bend the top to sit on the battery. Poke the bottom in just a little. You can make minor adjustments. Set that on top of the battery and watch that baby spin. How do we even begin to explain something as cool as the homopolar motor? It's spinning and twirling like on its own, and there's nothing driving it, but something must be driving it. So where do we begin? Let's break it down into its 3 pieces: the magnets, the battery, and the wire.
Let's see if we can figure out how the electrons moving through a magnetic field feel a force that spins the wire.
Let's take the magnets off the wire and see if we can do some experiments to show what's going on with magnetic field lines. I'm gonna take these magnets and I'm gonna put them inside a little canister. There it is. Now watch this. I'm gonna sprinkle some iron shavings on top of this. I got a little 1-pound container here from Amazon. We'll see if we can notice the magnetic field lines. See these magnetic field lines? They're going from north to south, from one pole to the other. See what's going on here? The iron shavings are magnetic, so they align with the magnetic field of our magnets. So we can see a magnet produces these magnetic field lines going north to south that emanate around the magnet. And that happens to be just like a bar magnet. So our stacked magnets behave just like a bar magnet does. And the Earth acts just like a giant magnet too. That's why something like a compass is a magnet also. It behaves just like one of our bar magnets, except the larger magnet that it's orienting to is the Earth. So if you imagine the Earth, it constantly directs where the compass is pointing. Kind of like this. Magnetic field lines interact with other magnetic field lines. So if we set a whole bunch of compasses on the counter like this, the compasses will orient themselves in the magnetic field that's strongest. So when we set this magnet in the middle of them, we see that all the compass's needles orient themselves around the stronger magnetic field of the magnet. We could probably see that a little bit clearer if we look at this Phet simulation. Notice how all the needles are oriented in the direction of the magnetic field. Changing the magnetic field changes the orientation of those compass needles. So without the copper wire here, the magnetic field of these magnets are doing something like this. Now what about our battery? Our battery produces an electric charge. It moves through a wire like this that we can see in this Phet simulation. The electrons move from the negative end of the battery to the positive end of the battery. You can think about negatives being attracted to positives. Each electron is producing an electric field, and an electric field is different than a magnetic field. An electric field looks like this. So our battery has electrons leaving, and each electron creates an electric field. that electric field is directed towards the electron, like this. See how the lines are going towards the negative charge? That's like our electron that has the electric field directed towards it. If we had a positive charge, like a proton, the electric field would be directed away from it. And the thing that we want to keep track of is the electric field is different than the magnetic field, but let's see how they do interact. The really cool thing that happens now is that the electrons moving through this wire are not stationary. It's a moving charge, and moving charges have a rad new rule we need to check out. To show this, I'm going to take this battery and a piece of copper wire and link them together. Now I'm going to take this compass. I'm just going to set the wire underneath the compass. We see the wire doesn't do anything to the compass. Now watch what happens if we connect the wire. The compass just got affected by the wire as soon as the charge started moving through it. And did you see how it got affected? It went 90 degrees to the wire. Isn't that incredibly cool? That shows that the wire, when the charge is moving, produces a magnetic field going 90 degrees to the wire. The electrons in the copper wire are stationary before we connect them. Once we connect the wire, then the electrons start moving. Those moving electrons then create something that affects the compass. And what's the compass? It's a magnet. So what's created by the copper wire is a magnetic field. A moving charge creates a magnetic field. Is that not so trippy? It is like so cool to me. So let's continue on. So how are the moving electrons, that negative charge passing through the copper wire, interacting with this magnetic field, affected? That comes to our right-hand rule. Let's look at this ophysics simulation to see how that works. Look at this magnetic field. It's all those little dots. The reason that they're dots is that the magnetic field is pointed towards us. Watch what happens when we shoot a positive charge through this magnetic field. The positive charge is deflected downwards. What happens if we shoot a negative charge through this magnetic field pointed towards us? The negative charge is deflected upwards. Why is that? There's something called the right-hand rule, and here's how it goes. There's a couple different ways to do it, but this is the way that I love, and I think you'll like it too. If you imagine the magnetic field, that is your fingers right here. So your fingers, you point them in the orientation of the magnetic field. In this case, the magnetic field was pointed towards us. So if it was pointed towards you, it would be like this. Then the direction the charge is moving is the thumb. So the thumb tells us the charge would be moving upwards here. Or if the charge was moving downwards, it would be like this. So the last thing that we want to figure out is, why did that charge curve? It's because it experienced a force. And this is what's so cool. A moving charge in a magnetic field feels a force. And here's how that force goes. You have the magnetic field directed towards you. The charge is moving upwards. The force that charge is going to feel is going to be in the direction your palm would be pushing. And this is specifically for a positive charge. A positive charge will feel a force this way. Then a negative charge would move to your left, like this. See if you can align your hand to get the same direction that the charge moves. So positive charge, magnetic field towards you, charge moving this way, feels a force down. We see that deflection. Now let's try a negative charge moving through that same magnetic field. Negative charge, magnetic field towards you, charge moving this way, feels a force towards the back of your hand, upwards. We see that deflection. Isn't that about as nifty as it gets? That is so cool to me. Let's look at this ophysics simulation now. If we have the magnetic field going upwards and we have a positive charge moving this way, it continually feels that force to be pushed and make that awesome circular orbit. Then we can see all the different angles that this happens in and how it makes this neat little spiral. And that is very similar to what we have going on. Right now, the electrons are moving from the negative end to the positive end, interacting with the magnetic field, feeling a force predicted by our right-hand rule. So it's spinning like this. What do you think would happen if we flipped the battery and reversed the direction those electrons are flowing? Let's try that. You see that? Oh, that was really cool. What direction is it spinning now? This way. Wow, before it was spinning the other way. Let me try something to see if I can get it to stay on there a little better. Maybe if we put a little washer on. So I put a little magnet on with a washer, and we see that it doesn't want to spin. So what I'm gonna do is flip this magnet at the top so that everything is working to push the wire in the same direction. There we go, check that out. So now the magnetic fields are helping each other, not working against each other, and it won't come off because we have a washer holding it on like a little hat. Try that one, that's pretty nifty. This wasn't actually my idea. I got it from Electroboom. Thought, what a neat little trick. I'm gonna try that. So now the electrons are moving from the bottom up to the top, moving through our magnetic field, feeling a force directing them in a circle. Wow, let's do another experiment. We flipped the battery and saw that it flipped the wire. What happens if we flip the magnets? Let's try that. We'll need to flip both of them. Magnets have been flipped. It's spinning the other way. Oh man, whoa, it really likes to spin that way. Flipping the magnets changes the direction of the magnetic field. So it's like maybe the magnetic field was going downwards, then the magnetic field is going upwards. Or if it's going upwards, we flip it to downwards. And so think about what that does to the direction of the force. It changes the direction of the force, making it spin counterclockwise or clockwise, depending on the direction of our magnetic field. That is really cool. Try flipping around the battery and the magnets a little and see if you notice that same thing. To get our final explanation, let's go to ophysics and look at this simulation. In this simulation, we see the electrons are moving from the negative to the positive along the way it travels through the magnetic field. The magnetic field is directed to our left. Using the right-hand rule, we see those moving electrons will feel a force going downwards. The force on those electrons acts on the wire, spinning the wire, making the motor spin.
So that battery produces a current that moves through the magnetic field and feels a force according to the right-hand rule that's going to spin the wire.
Isn't that just incredible? It's like magic. I mean, it's science, but it's so rad. So these things that we don't necessarily consider to be intuitive are always going on all around us. And today we saw how these magnetic fields interact with moving charges to produce forces that we can use to create motors, which gets us one step closer to understanding this Tesla. Now, naturally, the Tesla is a little bit more complicated than a little electric motor, but we're moving in the right direction, hopefully. Give me some comments down there. Let me know a fuller explanation if you know one. This is something I'm growing in my understanding of, so I appreciate all the comments I can get. Thank you for hanging out. If you did enjoy that, if you wouldn't mind, click that like. I think that helps the overall goal of what we're trying to do. And in the distant future, maybe it will allow us to do bigger and more exciting experiments. To get back in the lab, click here or here, and I will see you soon.